Finals.
Cam on the ones and twos as a Sixers fan.
He should be embarrassed.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you want to admit that publicly. We got time to get to the Sixers.
No,
let's let the losers worry about losing for now. Let's talk about a team that's winning, and right now that would be the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay, if we hear this today, I'm going to go crazy. So we'll wait on the Daryl Morey stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, terrible.
You got some ammo.
We'll get to the losers. Let's talk about the winners.
I agree. So 114-109. Your boy Ant-Man, 16 in the fourth quarter, 36 for the game. They won the game. They tie it up. Naz Reid is as tough as could be. And obviously, not having Wemby played a factor. Although the Spurs were up late in this game, Ant-Man and the Wolves did win. Before we get to the Wemby ejection, how do you feel about your guy, Ant-Man?
Oh, he was phenomenal. I think what Anthony Edwards did in the fourth quarter matched the energy of what we saw from Victor Wembanyama in the fourth quarter in Game 3. And he knew he needed to come out and have a statement game. And crazy as it sounds, the Timberwolves needed all of Ant-Man in that fourth quarter because that game was touch and go for them even without Wemby for the final 2.5 quarters. They were down 8 points with 8 minutes to go. And it was the Ant-Man show. I mean, knocking down a couple of impossible threes in the middle minutes of the fourth quarter, and then just his ability to be able to close, to be able to make tough shots, to be able to get into the lane, to be able to get to the free throw line. I just thought it was a masterful performance by Anthony Edwards. Good on him. And now we are talking about a best-of-3 series. Now, 2 of those games are in San Antonio, but you feel good about Anthony Edwards' chance to make it 3 straight conference finals appearances for Minnesota.
You always talk about greatness being at your best when your best is required. Ant-Man's best was required in the fourth, and he stepped up. 16 points, as you said, Ev. And I loved how after the game he expressed the fact that it was Mother's Day, and he could not lose this game because he wanted to honor his late mother. And he really did turn on the gears and step up when his team needed him. And shout out to Naz Reid as well with obviously the elbow to the throat. He stepped up for his team in a big way too. And this Timberwolves Spurs series has been so entertaining. This has been, in my opinion, the best series of the postseason. It's been so fun to watch. I'm so excited that we're going to get more of this.
Can I ask you a question? Because I think you walked us into something that I think is a legitimate conversation. Is this now the new rivalry in the Western Conference? Because it was Minnesota-Denver for the last few years.
Yep.
But now it feels like it's setting up for this one to be the rivalry in the Western Conference that everybody is watching for, the team that is vying for contender status right underneath the Oklahoma City Thunder. Who's going to be that next team up? Is it going to be Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs, or is it going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves? It feels like it's setting up for the versus with these two teams from here forward.
I mean, sure, but Oklahoma City is just ridiculously good.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking rivalry, not dominance.
But here's the thing.
But I don't think this is a rivalry like Oklahoma City, San Antonio could be.
No, but here's the thing.
Could be.
Oklahoma City is in a class of their own.
I totally agree with that.
They're winning playoff games by 18 points.
They're on a different tier.
Their average margin of victory is 18.3 points in the playoffs.
SGA has an off game, no problem.
Yeah, let's put them in a separate category,
Totally
okay?
agree.
Because their biggest opponent is history. Not anybody in the playoff field right now.
So this is your your Buffalo, Baltimore to Kansas City?
Yes, exactly.
100%.
Exactly. Because you're not going to sit here and say that that's not a rivalry. It is.
No, I understand, but it's like
the challenger to the champs.
There you go. That's the best way to frame it.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, I think the dream rivalry in all of sports is when you have the best team and the second best team. What you're saying is this is the second and third best team fighting to take on the best team.
Can I ask you a question? For the foreseeable future, barring anything unforeseen in the way of injuries, who's touching Oklahoma City?
Nobody.
Nobody.
They're unbelievable.
They're the most dominant team in the postseason.
And imagine when they get
got
healthy.
the 12th overall pick in the draft lottery.
And imagine
who the
when they
hell
get
is
healthy.
touching? Who the hell is touching Oklahoma City?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Yo, you know, I'm glad you said that. I think you were off this day, Smalls. We came on the air, you and I, and we talked about the birth of a potential dynasty before they won a title last year, and we got laughed at. People want to still laugh at us about that? I'm mean, I'm not trying to
Who's
count.
laughing now?
Right. I'm not trying to count the chickens before they hatch a little bit, but I mean, we weren't that far off to project the possibility of that. I'm just saying. Now, go ahead.
But what we're saying, though, about Wemby and Ant, we're talking about two young superstars who are absolutely playing at their best. It's chippy. It's physical.
Yes.
It is back and
we
forth.
got ejections.
We've got ejections.
People getting elbowed in the face.
In the throat. Like, we've got a lot of juice behind these two teams, and I would love for this to be a rivalry for years to come.
All right, so then let's talk about that. The elbow. Victor Wembanyama elbowing Naz Reid. It was all tangled up by Jaden McDaniels, and he elbows Naz Reid in the neck. An amazing scene, and kudos to the NBC cameras because they caught this. When Wemby's on the bench, as Zach Zarba and the referees are looking it over, they rule a flagrant 2, and this is when you remember he's like 22, 23 years old. He looks at Harrison Barnes, his teammate, who's been through everything in the NBA, looks at him and says, "What does that mean?" He's like, "You're ejected." Then he pulls him over, and we're showing it on TV because obviously Wemby didn't fully hear what he said, and Harrison Barnes is telling him, "You are ejected from the game." Mitch Johnson, head coach of the Spurs, gave some reasoning as to what happened and why Wemby did what he did last night.
In terms of the game plan of every single team we face since that young man's been in the league, and the physicality that people try to impose on him, and the lack of protection is really disappointing. And at some level, it's starting to get actually disgusting, just in terms of when he tries to fight through things and be professional and mature and deal with some of that stuff. I'm glad he took matters into his own hands. Again, not in terms of hitting Naz Reid, but let me be very clear about that. I'm glad Naz Reid was okay, and I didn't want him to elbow him, but he's going to have to protect himself if they're not. And I think it's disgusting.
Disgusting. Now, there's two parts of this. Part one, should he have been tossed? Part two is Mitch Johnson, head coach of the Spurs. It's May, so automatic sore throat for an NBA coach. We know that. Is he right about the way in which Smalls that Wemby's officiated? There's two parts. In the moment last night, and then totality of Wemby and the way in which he's officiated.
I can understand how he would be frustrated with the way that players are going at him. But I think what Mitch Johnson said when he said kid in reference to Wemby and then adjusted that to young man also needs to be put into account here. Victor Wembanyama has such unbelievable composure for a 22-year-old that we forget that he is still a 22-year-old. And I wonder if a few years from now, even if he was dealing with the same circumstances in the game, if he would make a move like that, if he would let his frustrations get the best of him in a consequential postseason game. And I do think that the call was right because it was intentional. And I know that that's frustrating for the Spurs, and it was frustrating for Wemby, who didn't even know, as you mentioned, that he was getting tossed in the moment.
That's a great
But
shot.
I do think that this is the rare Victor Wembanyama growing pain that we watched in real time yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say Mitch Johnson is wrong, because I do think there was a concerted effort by the Minnesota Timberwolves to frustrate Wemby. And good on Terrence Shannon Jr. and the rest of the Wolves for recognizing when Wemby got 2 fouls to get even more physical.
Yeah,
in terms
good
of
game
taking
plan.
the basketball right at him on the defensive end, roughing him up, putting bodies on him when they're boxing out for rebound. And they frustrated him. They flustered him. So Mitch Johnson is right in his assessment of what's happening to Victor Wembanyama. My only issue with him is that you knew this in terms of what team's approach would be to negate Wemby's strengths coming into the season. You knew what this would be. And to not be better prepared as a team to be able to offset that in these moments, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. Like Chris Finch is telling his guys to do exactly what they should do. If you're Brian Wright, the GM for San Antonio, or if you're Mitch Johnson, the head coach for San Antonio, why the hell don't you have somebody out there that's an enforcer to try to protect Victor Wembanyama?
There you go.
Every team in the history of basketball that has had a dominant big has had a power forward that is out there cruising for a bruising. Like every team. Go back to my Lakers in the 80s with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They had Kurt Rambis. What the hell you think Kurt Rambis was out there for? What do you think? He wasn't out there to score no baskets. He was out there to bleep stuff up, just in case somebody got the idea in their head that they wanted to run up on the cap.
That's right.
That's what it was. Every team in basketball has had that. How the hell you think you are immune from that, from having that? That is on you. So you're sitting there at the podium, you're telling everybody what we already know, but you didn't have an answer for the question. You didn't have the answers for the test for your 22-year-old star who's 7'5". He's 7'5", Smalls. How is anybody going to stop him?
They can't.
They can't.
So they're going to frustrate him.
Exactly.
And they did
the
their
only
jobs.
person that can stop Victor Wembanyama is Victor Wembanyama.
And
And last night he stopped himself
Yeah.
because he was frustrated, and I get it.
With the 20th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Morez Johnson Jr. from Michigan.
Yes.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yes.
That's by way of Illinois, by the way.
You have one job. Don't let nobody mess with number one. That's your only job.
Ain't anybody messing with him. He's a monster, that guy.
That's your only job.
Seriously, Draymond, your market is more than the Kevin Hart roast. Maybe if they're going to get rid of you, San Antonio should put you right next to Wemby, because that's right. I'm glad you said what you did. Multiple things could be true. They're nasty with him. He should have been thrown out last night.
Oh, I hated that, though.
I'm
going to be honest with you. I'm not saying that it was the wrong call.
It stunk for us.
Zach Zarba, the crew chief, and the officials, they got it right. I just don't like it. It's such a consequential game. I don't like players being tossed in the postseason. Now, for the folks that are out there saying, "Oh, his status for Game 5 is in doubt,"
No. He served
Stop it. He served the suspension last night. Like, that was it. They kicked him out of the game, flagrant 2. Okay, that's it. Let's move on with the series.
That's right.
Because I don't want that moment to be the disqualifier for San Antonio having a chance to get to the conference finals.
Absolutely right. The other thing I was going to say is I totally agree with this. If you are going against someone in basketball, and this is at any level, that is significantly better than you, your one job is to get them worse. Figure out how to do it. Sometimes it's a way of defense. Sometimes it's a way of getting in their head. I guarantee their offensive lineman you went up against, they're like, I can't beat this guy. But if I do this, this, and this, I'm going to get in their head in a way where I'm going to frustrate them, or maybe I got a shot. And that's what the Wolves did last night. Naz Reid was more than happy to take an elbow to the neck to get that guy thrown out of the game. And Naz Reid is exactly the kind of guy that we're talking about needs to be next to Victor Wembanyama. All right, well, there was some celebrating last night for one Nuno Miguel Barreira Teixeira DeVito Jordan. He must have been happy with his Knicks win. Or was he? Because he always finds a way to make it negative. But you know what? We'll celebrate the Knicks with a little arcade today, right, Smalls?
Absolutely. If you wake up early like I do, but you still want to enjoy life, maybe you're